Hey guys, what's up? My name is Rohan, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made this poster right here. I'm using Photoshop 2020, and yeah, let's go. Okay, so we are in Photoshop. Let's make a new file. So file new, head over to print, select A3 and drop down the resolution to 72. Now let's hit create. Okay, so we have a new file. Let's make a new layer. So you can press this tiny button right here, make a new layer, or you can press Control N. With this layer, I'm going to choose a brush. So P for brush. Let's scale down the brush and choose any color you like. Set the brush stroke to a hard round brush and just draw a straight stroke. So you can do that by clicking once, holding down shift and then clicking across. Simple. Now I'm just gonna repeat this process. I'll choose different color and do the same thing. And again, I'll just do the same thing. So you want to cover this whole layer up with strokes like these. Okay, so we have our strokes and let's just scale it down. But before that, let's convert it to a smart object so it doesn't lose details. And with this selected, let's scale it down. Okay, with this stroke selected, let's open the Liquify tool. And I'm gonna use the 12 clockwise tool. So first, let's increase the size and I'll just play around with this tool first. I want to make this wavy pattern. So right now these lines are straight and they're not interesting. So let's make them interesting. So we can make shapes that look like this. We have this interesting pattern going on, and I'll use the forward warp tool for the just slide in the corners and make this look more interesting. Okay, so our shape is done. Now let's select the magic wand tool. So press W for magic wand tool and click on any color inside your object. So I'm going to click here and then press Ctrl J to copy this. So Ctrl J, and now we'll have this exact copy of the shape that we selected. Now I'm going to do this with other shapes inside this main object. So let's do it with another shape. And yeah, I'll just do the same thing. Okay, once I've done this with all the shapes that I wanted, I'm just gonna press outside this main object. So it selects everything but the object, and let's make a new layer. So layer 7, and I'm gonna invert this selection. So I want just the shape of our main object. So select inverse, and let's close this one. Let's hide this one for a while, and I'm gonna choose the bucket tool and select dark color. And with my bucket tool selected, I'm just gonna fill it with this. So we have a nice base object, and I'm gonna turn all of these on. Okay, so our shape is ready. So now we're gonna select a shape from the ones that we created and select inner glow. Now this is the part where I'll choose my color. So I'm gonna give it a purple accent color. So I'll choose purple color. You can choose a different color, but make sure you use the same color for all the objects then. So I'm gonna set the blend mode to normal and increase the opacity so I have something that looks like this. And I'm gonna choose the color, change the color to white right now. We'll change it later on. And I'll just take this effect, copy the layer style. So you right click, copy the layer style, and I'll paste this on all the objects. I'll just select all these objects and I'll paste it. So paste layer style. Now we have the same effect on all these layers. Now let's change the color of all of these. So I'll head over to FX and go to color overlay. I'm going to choose a dark color, so black and different shades of black. So we'll go a darker black, then we'll choose something that looks like gray, and yeah, just just choose dark colors. And by the end you will have something that looks like this. Now this looks pretty cool, but I am going to move them around a bit. Just take them and move them around. You can also scale them a little bit to create distance. So you can arrange them like this. So, okay, now I'll choose an object and choose FX, and I'll add a drop shadow. And I'll be choosing this purple color that we use for everything else. And just remember this setting because we'll be doing this for all the other objects. So once I've done with this, I'll do the same with all the objects except the one that's on the bottom. The reason why I'm not copying right now is because we have set different colors for each object. If you do copy layer style, it's going to change the color and the style of everyone, and every object will be the same. Okay, once I'm done, I'll just group them together and convert it into a smart object. So now we have this main object, and we'll head over to Liquify again. Now we'll morph it again. So just like this, I'm gonna make, I'm gonna do this, and we are left with an object that looks like this. Now this has a lot of jagged edges and spikes coming out. We don't want it to look like this. We want it to be more streamlined. So to do that, let's create an ellipse. With ellipse tool, let's make an oval. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll just take this layer, move it across, and create a clipping mask. Okay, now we have it much more streamlined. But right now it's too clean. Okay, we just don't want it to look like an egg. So let's just transform it. Control T and just move it around a bit, and you should be, you will end up with a object that looks like this. Okay, so now it's covering a good part of a poster, and that's what we want. Now for the next step, let's just copy this layer and we'll choose blending options. Now I'm gonna choose color dodge. You can go for color dodge or linear dodge, both of them work. And you can also just scale it up a bit and move it around. So you have this interesting aura effect. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Now for the next step, we'll create a shadow. To do that, we'll not use FX. Okay, we'll not be using the FX panel. We'll create the shadow manually. So make a new layer. Let's name it shadow. And now I'll choose the brush tool. Okay, let's select a soft round brush and increase the size. And then just do light strokes. So just behind this object, make lighter strokes. So you can just click multiple times, and you can see we are starting to get this shadow effect, and it looks pretty cool. Okay, so this you can see this halo effect right now. Let's get rid of that. So we'll create a clipping mask so we don't see it anymore. And yeah, now we can see the shadows clearly. They look good, they look great. Okay, but now the outline of our object is evident. You can like see this hard outline, and it doesn't look like it's a 3D object, it looks like a cutout. So to change that, let's add a inner glow. So with our object selected, we'll head over to FX and we'll add an inner glow. Now we'll just tweak it a little bit to make it look like the edges are curved. Okay, they're not straight, they are like not straight. You can play around with this inner glow, and I'm gonna go with this. Okay, so now you can see this, it's not as clearly defined as it was before. So it looks less like a cutout and more like a 3D object. Now for the next step, let's edit our shadows a bit. So I'm going to scale the shadows, and I'll add a few more strokes. Okay, now our object is done, so this is complete. Let's add a backdrop. So to make the backdrop, I'm going to use some text. So let's change the font. Let's choose a font. Let's go with the default font that comes in Photoshop, agency heavy, and I'm gonna write something like poster design. Make sure you change the color. You can go to properties and change color. I'll write poster design. Okay, so I'm gonna select this, Control C, and I'll just paste it multiple times. To change the gap between these, I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to press down on Alt and then just hit the up arrow button. So it goes all the way up. Now let's bring it down. So it's going to come down in increments. So you might have to press the down arrow key multiple times. And you can press the side arrow keys to change the distance between each alphabet. Okay, yeah, this looks good. Now for the next step, let's add a new layer. So we need something behind this before we start morphing it. So let's use white color and press G and then just fill. But before we convert it to a smart object, let's scale down this. Right now you can't see what is going on because the background is also white. But let me just show you what I did. So let's change the color to black. Okay, I can see what I did. Can increase size of this box. And yeah, once you're happy with this, just choose the text layer and the box layer and convert it into a smart object. Now we have this. Okay, now let's head to edit and use puppet warp. So you can see we have this web thing going on now. And now we'll use this to make this poster design text just unreadable. So you can just hit anywhere to put a point. It's like a point that you put, and then when you pull something, that point will remain here. So I'm just gonna click um, on all sides, and as you can see, we can just pull a point to morph this. So I'll be putting a couple of points here and there. So just like this. Once you have put enough points, you can just start pulling it and start making it look this weird theme of text. Okay, so by the end, I have something that looks like this. It doesn't look very good right now, but it's gonna look good once we turn on everything. So first, let's just convert it into a smart object, and let's place it behind our main object. So I've placed it behind the shadow, and I'm going to transform it so that we can see. Right now it was just completely hidden behind this object, and I'll place it somewhere like this, and I'm just going to duplicate this and place this one right here. Now you may see both of these overlapping each other, and to get rid of that, let's create a mask and choose the brush tool. Let's just erase it. So now we have a clear distinction between both of them, and yeah, yeah, that looks good. So we'll place it something like this. Okay, so yeah, by the end we'll have something like this. Now let's tweak our shadows. Okay, so now for the next step, let's make a new layer. Let's make a new layer and we'll choose the brush tool and we'll set the color to white and we'll just paint like this. Just paint over the sides of this layer. You don't have to do it for all the sections, just you want this top left corner and this bottom right corner. Okay, and you can just turn down the opacity to something like 60, 59. Okay. So for the next step, let's create a layer that's on top of our main layer. And again, with the white brush, I'm just gonna draw like this. And let's scale it down. We're doing this to add a light effect. You can add this and just change the length. You can play with the opacity with this one. Let's change the opacity, and now again I'm just tweaking my shadows so that I don't have the shadows at the top. You can tweak the shadows, and yeah, now let's add some text. Let's complete this poster by writing your name, the poster series number, and let's just arrange them. Okay guys, so our poster is complete. Now if you get stuck somewhere or if you have any questions, you can write them down in the comment section and I'll try my best to get back to you. And yeah, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys soon with another tutorial video, hopefully soon. So yeah, thanks for watching.